This is Ms. Hegwood, and I'm here to give you some information about your research and presentation project that you have to do for English 4 via distance learning. A lot of you may have seen this information before spring break, but some of you did not. So I want to take a few minutes and go through here and make sure that you understand what it is that you are supposed to do. Maybe. There we go. All right. So over the next few weeks, you will complete a research project. The topic will be centered on the school-appropriate career topic of your choice, including information about the higher education needed to be successful in your chosen career. You will complete multiple steps as outlined in this packet. So even though it says, the title says college and career, you may or may not deal with or do research on a college, depending on what it is that you want to do. It may just be, it could be a trade school, it could be community college, it could be whatever it is that you need outside of high school to be successful in your chosen career. So go ahead and clear that up. You will complete a Google Slides presentation for your research. It should include images. This will not obviously be presented in class. Your presentation should be 15 to 20 slides, not counting the cover slide and the works cited slide. You're welcome to be as creative as possible with this assignment. Keep in mind when we get down to the rubric that there is you get points for creativity. All right, you have a minimum of 5 sources, which may include but are not limited to the following. You can use primary resources, and primary resources are straight from the horse's mouth. If you are interested in being a veterinarian, if you talk to a veterinarian, that veterinarian is a primary resource. Anybody that you talk to who actually works in the field that you want to do, if you ask them any kind of questions, they are considered a primary resource. Because of social distancing, you may or may not do these things or be able to talk to anybody specifically, but if you do, that is a primary resource, and we will be showing you how to cite it. You can use information from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. You can use internet sources that are not Wikipedia. Anything that you can just log into and change the information is not a reliable source. So you're not going to use that. You could use an interview, which will come from a primary resource. It has recording required here. It's not something that we're required to hear, but if you do get to interview somebody and use them as a primary resource, recording it would be really great, because that way you don't misinterpret or forget information. Or you can use anything from print or newspapers. And we will talk a little bit later about how to cite those sources. Your project will count as 2 grades and several daily grades. One will be for your slideshow, and the other one will be for your works cited page, as it is expected to be properly formatted in APA style. So in addition to doing your slideshow, you will have some type of Word document or Google document that has your sources properly formatted and cited. This is not as difficult as you would think, because there are ways in Microsoft Word and in Google Docs to automatically format something in APA format. So it's not as hard as it used to be back in the dark ages when I had to use the typewriter. Plagiarism equals a non-negotiable 0. Do your own work. This isn't new. It's not difficult. Just look up the information, do your own work. We have ways of finding out whether or not you did your own work. And if I find out, or if any of your teachers find out that you didn't do your work, that it came from someplace else, you're going to get a 0. And it could possibly keep you from getting the credit you need to finish. So just be honest. Just like you can look up stuff on the internet, so can we. So keep that in mind. All right. Career research, career and your college research. There are specific questions that you would look up. or things that we would want to see you look up and research as far as your career and as far as your post-secondary education. Excuse me, I'm sorry, it's early. So for your career research, you would answer these questions. What does one need to know and be able to do for this career? What type of post-secondary education is needed? Are there any additional certifications? What is the expected salary? What daily, hourly schedule would one have? What type of vacation can one expect? What type of work does one do in this career? Is the labor physical, mental, or a combination of both? There are some resources here that you can use. These are not required, but they do give you good information about occupations and are they going to be thriving in the near future or whatever. You have the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and there's a link right there. You have College Board, which is where you sign up to take your SAT and ACT exams. They have a ton of information about different careers. And for those of you who may not know what it is that you want to do right now, which is perfectly normal and okay, find your freecareertest.com gives you several questions, a series of questions that gauge your interest in places where you think you are strong or maybe not quite as strong. And from that, it gives you suggestions of what you may do for your career. So if you have no idea what you want to do, I would start right here with yourfreecareertest.com. And then your college research or post-secondary education research. Your paper will examine the important information that you identified by researching your specific college as it relates to your career choice. It will include the answers to the following questions. What type of school is it? What is the enrollment? Is it urban, meaning that it sits in the middle of a city? Or is it rural, which means that it sits in the middle of nowhere? What are the admission requirements? And what is the graduation rate? These two are important as if some of you are not yet enrolled in an institution, because some schools are really easy to get into, they're not easy to get out of. So pay attention to what it takes to get in, how many people they accept versus how many people they graduate. What are the costs with attending this school? What type of major would you pursue at this school? For example, if you wanted to be a medical doctor, then you may major in biology or you may major in chemistry or something like that. But if you wanted to be a veterinarian, you would not necessarily major in those things. If they had animal science, you could major in animal science, or you may major in something agricultural related. So that's going to be important. What is a description of the major that you would have to take to be successful in your chosen career? What skills are necessary to be successful in this major? So like if you are wanting to be an engineer, then you're majoring in engineering, it helps to be kind of analytical and to be able to step back and analyze information and determine which way you're going versus which way you need to be going. And if you're not an analytical person, then maybe you shouldn't do that. All right. What high school courses would you need for your chosen major? What is the study workload like for this major? How many hours would you need to take each semester if you wanted to get out in a certain amount of time? How much time can you prepare to spend studying? What is it like? And what questions would you ask an admissions counselor about this school? Um, so those are the questions that we'll be looking for in your presentation. That we're looking for those to be answered in your presentation. You have an outline that you have to do. We will separate this so that you have it apart from this big document, and it'll be available to you wherever you choose to do your research. The ability to construct an outline for research helps ensure that your paper is organized and logical. The outline is a required part of your research and will be very helpful in ensuring your presentation flows logically. You can use this outline. You can create your own template. It doesn't make any difference. What I will say is that this particular outline, when you're done with it, you will have all the information that you need to put in your slideshow. You can do it in complete sentences. You do not have to do it in complete sentences. We're not pressed about whether or not you have complete sentences or not, but you should have this completed. And so we will be looking for that. That'll be one of your daily assignments, as well as the works cited page. If you put the information here, what kind of source it is, if it's a web source, if it's an article, if it came from a book, anything that you have, it will go right here. And then that will help with organizing your works cited page before you submit your work. Your grading is right here. It's basically, it doesn't look like a rubric, but it's still a rubric. So as far as your slideshow goes, this is how you will be graded for your cover slide, your background information, and your thesis statement. Do you have all the information about the career? Do you have all the information about the college? Did you conclude your paper, and were you creative? These are where your points will come from. And then as far as your works cited page, do you have at least 5 sources, and are they properly formatted? Okay, so basically your works cited page is either properly formatted or it's not. So you want to make sure that you have it done the way it's supposed to be done. You have a calendar of dates here, different days that things are going to be due, starting with the 6th, which is Monday, where you will have your APA quiz. I'm going to do another one of these videos over APA format, and you will have access to a slideshow that shows you how to use APA format, and then you have a quiz that goes with that. On the 8th, your career topic and thesis statement are due. Your outline is due on the 14th. Everything here, and then you have your slides when these are due. You can do more, you cannot do less if you want credit for that particular day. And it takes you all the way through the month of May, April. And then at the beginning of May, I will check your works cited page, or your teacher will check your works cited page. If you ask, we're not going to ask that this is submitted to us so we can see if it's okay. If you want to make sure it's right, you will send it to your teacher, and your teacher will check it and make sure it's right. And then your final copy is due on May the 7th. So this document will be housed in Schoology or in Google Classroom, whichever one your particular teacher is using. So any questions that you have about your project, look at this first and then reach out to your teacher, because a lot of times your questions can be answered by looking at this document. And so if you have any questions, again, make sure that you reach out to your particular teacher. Bye.